Hello, primary 4. Today we are going to revise what we studied during the last week. We studied the first concept of our curriculum, which is adaptation and survival. We asked what you will do in the very hot climate in summer, and we answered that we are wearing light clothes and use the umbrella to protect ourselves from the hot climate and the hot sunlight. But in winter, in the very cold climate, we used to wear a heavy clothes just to keep ourselves warm. So this type of changing is called adaptation. And adaptation is not only happen in the human being, but also in the animals, planets, and so on, in all the living organisms. So, what is the adaptation? Adaptation is a change over time to help the living organism survive in its ecosystem. And we define the word ecosystem as the natural area that have living organisms and non-living organisms. So, we said that all the organisms adapt to the different kinds of environments or habitats. Here we have two types of lizards. The starred agama lizard on the left, and on the right the panther chameleon. Both of them adapt to their environment. The agama lizard, the starred agama lizard live in the desert, and in the desert habitat the climate is very hot. So always the agama lizard search for a shaded area to protect itself from the hot climate. But the panther chameleon tend to change its color when it feels danger. Both of the two acts considered as adaptation, which is a change over time to help the living organism to survive. Let's talk about the adaptation of penguins. Penguins live in the Antarctica, which is a very cold area located in the polar region. So penguins try to keep itself warm against the cold climate it lives in. So it has an insulating layer of fat and thick downy feathers to keep its body warm in the freezing cold weather. But the feet of the penguin is not covered with feathers and don't have the thick layer of fat under the skin. But the penguin can stand on the ice all the day. And this happens because of the way of movement, the way of blood movement in the blood vessels through the penguin's feet. And here we have to say that the hot blood vessel which come from the body of the penguin weave around the cold blood vessel which come from the feet of the penguin. So the hot blood vessel work on heating up or warming up the cold blood vessel, which helps the penguin to stand around all the day on the ice. Here we have the polar bear and brown bear, and each of them have a different way of adaptation. Let's start by the polar bear. Polar bear live in the Arctic area, which is very, very cold area. So it has a white, thick fur. Let's start with white. Its fur is white to protect itself or to hide from its enemies, like predators or or even the praise. And its sack to keep it warm in the colder climate it lives in. And the brown bear. Brown bear live in the forest habitat. So its fur is brown just to help it to hide from its enemy too. And this way of hiding or blending in the surrounding environment is called camouflage. So both of polar bear and brown bear use a way of adaptation called camouflage. And here we have different types of foxes. The first fox is the Archetec fox, second fox is the Fennec fox. Archetec fox is a fox with a white fur. This white fur is thick, just like the polar bear to keep itself warm. His legs and ears is very short because the Arctic fox need to keep the warm inside itself. And there is a property in the Arctic fox or a way of adaptation. Between each season, the Arctic fox tend to change its fur color. Like in the winter, the tundra or the Arctic region at which the Arctic fox live is white. So it's covered with snow, so it's white. So the Arctic fox color is white too. And in the summer, when the ice starts to melt and the white color of the surrounding ecosystem start to change into the greenish, the Arctic fox start to change its color of fur into the brownish color, or to camouflage in the surrounding. Okay, now the Fennec fox. Fennec fox has a golden color because it lives in the desert and has a very long ears. Its long ear, it used its long ear to reduce its body temperature or to keep its body cold because it lives in the desert and the climate in the desert is very hot. Bull shark. Bull shark lives in both types of water, the fresh water and salt water. So its body adapted to be able to live in both types, in those both types of water. The second characteristic of bull shark is that its belly has a white color and its back has a dark color, which the bull shark used this coloration to make a type of camouflage called counter shading. We can classify the adaptation into two types. The first type is the structural adaptation or the physical adaptation. And structural adaptation is a change in the structure of animal's body. And the second type is the behavioral adaptation. And the behavioral adaptation is just a change in the behavior or act of a group of animals. So we can say that the behavioral adaptation is just a change in what the animal do, like the bird's migration. Birds, when feel cold, if a group if the birds live in a warm climate and it's just the winter season is coming, the winter is coming to this area, the birds start to migrate or to travel from its country to another place. This migration is a change in what the birds do. It's a behavioral adaptation. The Arctic fox changes its color by changing seasons. Just think if it's change in the behavior of the Arctic fox or change in the body structure of the Arctic fox. So, changing its color considered as change in the body structure of the Arctic fox. So, it's a structural adaptation. Here. So, we talked after the definition of adaptation and the two classes of adaptation, we talked about the camouflage. And camouflage is a type of adaptation by which the animal hides from its prey and predators by blending in the surrounding environment. That's it. That's what we studied during our last week. I hope you get benefit. Thank you.